So I'm supposed to talk about the charm of Taurus. And I have to be honest, that was some shade. And let me tell you why it's some shade. Because I'm going to start off with a very controversial. I always have to do something controversial when Taurus comes up. I said one year that they were the most radical sign of the zodiac, which I still maintain. I can go into why I think Taurus is the most radical, right? I'm not saying I think I used to say they were the most revolutionary, but now I say they're the most radical. I'll go into that if we have time a little later. But this year I'm going to say Taurus is Scorpio with manners and charm. That's what I would say. They have better PR. And I am going to be honest, in the spirit of full disclosure, I have a Scorpio sun. So you guys may have heard all the things that are associated with Scorpio. They're sex fiends. They're power hungry. They're control freaks. What else about Scorpio? I got the sex part. Possessive. Right? All these. What? Vindictive. That might be true. Right? All these different things. But Scorpio is the opposite sign to Taurus. They're polarities. And the truth about polarities is that one thing emphasizes that also manifests in the other. As one thing has, another thing also has, but they may have it differently. So the key thing to keep in mind about Taurus, and let me also say this. Let me go back for a second. How many signs do you have in you? Those who are veterans of the Zodiac Lounge, how many signs do you have in you? All of them, all 12 are in you. It's a question of what degree and what focus you have them. So don't be saying like, well, I don't have any Taurus in me. You got Taurus somewhere in your chart. So I'm not just talking to those people who have like the sun in Taurus or moon in Taurus or Taurus rising. I'm talking to all of y'all, right? But there is a fact of emphasis. All right, now moving forward. When we're talking about Scorpio and we're talking about Taurus, we're talking about polar opposites. So what often is associated with Scorpio, you better believe is in Taurus. So it's in a different sense though. Why? Because Taurus is an earth sign. So why am I talking about the charm of the bull? When you think about a bull, you think about a creature grazing in a prairie or an open field, relaxing, moseying along, just enjoying itself. It's sensual. It's connected to the earth until you get that motherfucker mad. Then you will have problems. So what's the lesson here? Do not get the Taurus mad, right? But that's not what this is all about. There is something there. There is a way in which you have to deal with the earthiness, and that's more important. So that's what I want to talk about, the real charm of being connected to the earth. Now, again, I have a lot of shade, especially from my polarity. I almost married a Taurus, so there's some of that, right? I'm just being honest, because astrologers love to talk as if, like, we're objective, and I'm just talking, no, you're talking about yourself, with your ex, and with this. I'm just honest with my stuff. Okay. But I have a joke, and those who follow me on Twitter at SF Reynolds know my joke, where I go waiting for Taurus, right? It's my thing. Like, I could have a client. I'm like, I bet. How late is she going to be? I even do this with my wife. I'm like, is she going to be 5 minutes late? She's like, well, I don't know. Well, she's a Taurus rising with a moon in Taurus. I think she's going to be about 10 minutes late. So it's just a question. And usually it's like 8 or 10 minutes. Now, that's my joke. Not all Taurians are late, right? They're not, but many of them are. Why is that? And I think this is very important to understand and to know. When I talk about Earth and talked about that, giving you that image of the bull, moseying the field and all that, there's something deeper there. What's deeper is the appreciation of one's pleasure. Contacting and appreciating your sensual self. In this age of bells and whistles and your computer on your phone and everything, we've lost touch of being in our bodies. Taurus is here to remind you, you have a damn body. Appreciate the sensuality of what's going on around you, of being in your body, feeling your toes touching the earth. enjoying your food. You know, sometimes we just rush. I'm just eating just to put something in me so I can go through faster and I can have energy. Taurus is like, who lives like that? Why would you do that to yourself? So sometimes the reason why Taurus is late, because they stop to smell some flowers or to enjoy the sensuality. This is really good ice cream. This is so good. Maybe I'll get some more. You know you have an appointment in 5 minutes. Okay. They either they'll think they'll wait or this can't wait because I have to have this. Now that's important. You know, we can't lose sight of enjoying being in our bodies. There's a deeper message that I also want to convey here. Why is Taurus known as the most radical sign of the zodiac? Well, first, let me break down the word radical. You may not know that radical comes from the root for radix. And radix literally means root. So there's a way in which Taurus is being rooted, and it's called a fixed sign. Now, let me just explain briefly. What's a fixed sign? There are 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. There's Taurus, there's Scorpio, there's Leo, and Aquarius. Those fixed signs are those signs that establish, or I should say, maintain the season once it's gotten started. So after Aries kicks off, yeah, spring, Taurus is like, yeah, you motherfuckers are real excited about spring, but I'm going to make spring stay. Same thing, Cancer's like, here's summer, but Leo is like, now feel the heat. Capricorn is like, I kicked off winter, I'm bad. Yeah, but let me bring the cold for real, right? I skipped somebody. Oh, Scorpio, of course. So Scorpio, like, Libra's like, I'm going to bring like a little chill. I'm going to make it really feel like fall. Things are dying. Right? So that's what the fixed signs do. But Taurus brings in the fixity of spring in the northern hemisphere. And so there's a way in which that fixity starts taking root, goes deeper. And what Taurus does is it digs deep into the earth, connected to something fundamental, not whimsical, not going here and there. They leave that for Gemini. That was more shade, but you get it, right? Not going in all these different directions, finding a way in which they're anchored. Now you're like, but Sam, you said it was the most radical. How is that radical? Because sometimes radical is not just going with the crowd. Radical is not just going along with what others say should happen or what will happen. So, when I say it's the most radical signs, let me give you the short list. Malcolm X, Chiang Kai-shek, Louis Farrakhan, Lorraine Hansberry, Grace Jones, Sigmund Freud. Did I mention Karl Marx, Vladimir Lenin, Robespierre? Who? No, not a Taurus. Joe Louis, right? People who cut against the grain because they will not be moved. We are here to stay. We are going to find our roots. So what I'm asking you as we talk and celebrate Taurus, what are you rooted to? What is unshakable for you? Where is your solid footing and ground? What can you not be moved from? You know, when we say, and we have Malcolm X, what's his famous saying? One of his famous sayings, right?
By any means necessary.
By any means necessary. What's that? What is that for you? What is that moment where you're actually going to hold it down and be radical as in be rooted? That's not just for Taurus. That's for the Taurus in you. We are living in shaky times. And I'm going to say this as an astrologer, and those who know me know I don't talk too much about quote-unquote mundane astrology, but I'm going to say something to you. Hold on to your hats because it's about to get shakier. It's going to be shakier. So the question is, what are you rooted to? What do you fundamentally believe? How do you hold the sense of truth? And that's where you're going to find your radicality. Radicality isn't just getting on the street and holding up a placard and saying like, no more. Or saying Black Lives Matter. Show me Black Lives Matter. Show it in your life. Show it in producing the work that's necessary to make things happen. That's what these radicals actually did. When you talk about Sigmund Freud, a lot of people don't think about Freud as radical, but just the idea, and this is where I think, like I told you, that Scorpio Taurus thing, the man made his whole career talking about sex. Right? But that was fundamental. He got to a root looking at things in terms of culture. And that's where he found that sense of root, and that's what became unshakable in terms of our culture for the last 100 years. So what is that moment for you? So that's what you have to find and hook into. That's what's going to carry us forward. That's how we find the full sensuality of being in your body. Appreciate being in your body. Appreciate being a soul in form. Because when you're that soul in form and you're hooked into your sense of purpose, when you're hooked in with all your chakras, that's where you find your power. But to kind of find it in like, oh, maybe airy-fairy stuff, no, start with planting your feet on the ground, connecting to the earth, enjoying that ice cream, enjoying the toe curl that you might have 6 o'clock in the morning, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about, grown, right? Sex it's not just Scorpio, I'm telling you. Taurus is like, they can be the Lotharios of the Zodiac too. So that's where you find it. In the moment of enjoying good cupcakes, or sweet tea, or even this breathing fresh air. That's where we can enjoy the pleasure and know that life and this earth is worth fighting for. And I say this earth is worth fighting for. I'm not just talking about it in like this green warrior sensibility. I'm talking about like this is where we come from. When Stephen Hawking says, we better look for another planet to find because we're losing this one. This is where the Taurus in me gets really kind of raw. I'm like, that's bullshit. This is our planet. I ain't going nowhere. And another thing to say, we come from this planet. I believe this planet has, and this is where I do subscribe to the idea of Gaia in some sense. This planet, because we come from it, has a lot more intelligence than we do. And on some level, it's our arrogance to say like, oh, we're destroying the planet. This planet has endured dinosaurs and meteors and all kinds of things. Like, I believe the planet will be like, I'll get rid of all you motherfuckers before I die. That's Taurus. You can't shake me, I'll shake you. An immovable object versus unstoppable force. Well, I'm going to bet on the immovable object. And that's the earth. Find that within yourself. Thank you.